everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Seb's Garage. I've got a really exciting one for you today, so let's get into it. A little while ago, a representative from Hybrid Racing posted on one of the Honda Fit groups, and they were looking for someone to help with the product that they are bringing to market for these cars. And to my surprise, a lot of you commented on that post and tagged me and said that I should be the one to help with this product. And I was fortunate enough to be sent a prototype part by Hybrid Racing, and I already love the company, love the products. If you've been watching the channel, you know that I talk about them all the time. And as you can see here, I've already got their shifter and their shift knob on my car. I have installed their shift bushings and detent springs on a bunch of customer vehicles, and I really love what they are doing for Hondas and a lot of cars, actually, past Hondas now. But I love that they're a company that is willing to get into the fit market, even though it is a smaller market compared to other cars like Civics or Integras or the new Type Rs or what have you. But let me show you what we got. So this huge box showed up at my door, and in it is shifter cables. Shifter cables are discontinued for this car by Honda. They tend to get slop with higher mileage and aggressive driving. So these will be the perfect addition for any GD3 that is manual. They have a integrated, upgraded bushing. It's a spherical end on the shifter cable, which is awesome. And they were also kind enough to send me some stickers and also some merch. So I don't usually wear nicer clothing when I'm working on cars because I tend to get it disgusting, but I'm gonna try really hard to not ruin this while we do this install. So let's get at it. So this is what I'm hoping these cables will address. I have their short shifter, awesome piece, recommended short shifter for any car they make it for. And when you're in gear, there's still a decent amount of play. Now I've gone through and checked everything, and that's because of the cables, not because of the shifter. So I'm hoping it'll tighten that up. And I also have some crappier eBay bushings at the end of these factory cables. So getting into most gears isn't a problem, but sometimes getting into fit or reverse can be a little problematic. So I'm hoping that now that it'll have that nice spherical end on the shifter cable, it'll be a lot smoother. So hopefully tighten that up. And see, there, didn't really want to get into reverse all that easily. So let's see if we can solve those problems. Step one will be to pop open your hood, remove your battery, and remove the air intake so we can get access to the shifter cables. Once you've got those items out of the way, you can remove your battery tray to gain better access to the ends of the shifter cables. Your shifter cables are here and here. They have these little covers, and mine have little clips, but usually they'll have cotter pins. You just have to bend them and get them out of the way. So let's go ahead and do that. Then there's two clips holding the cables to the bracket right there and there. So we'll go ahead and remove those. And then we'll be able to remove the cables from the transmission. Once your cables are free of everything, we can go ahead and move to the interior. Inside the car, we'll remove the shift knob, which just unthreads from the shifter. And then we'll remove this cover from underneath the handbrake. Do be careful, as it's very easy to snap this in half. Then you'll remove the two rear retaining screws at the bottom of the center console. Then remove the two front lower clips. The centers push in, and then the clips can be pulled out. After that, you can lift the console out of place and remove the electrical connectors from the auxiliary power and aux port if you have one. Next, we can loosen up the retaining clips for the shift cables from the shifter assembly. The right cable has the same type of retaining clip as the ones we removed from the transmission side, while the left one just spins to unlock. Then we can remove the 4 bolts holding in the shifter assembly to gain access to the shifter cable ends. Once you've got access to the shifter cable ends, they can be removed from the shifter assembly. The left cable is a simple clip or cotter pin, while the bottom or right cable is a special spring clip. The ends just need to be spread apart and it pops right off. Once your shifter cable assemblies are free from the shifter, we're going to move to underneath the car. So go ahead and jack up your car. Make sure you have ample room to work underneath. Once you've got your pressure race toaster up in the air and you can get up underneath it, you'll have to remove the heat shield between the exhaust and the chassis. I've auto removed it because I've got this beautiful long tooth header from Unequal Fabrication, but the 3 studs that you'll have to work with are here, here, and another one back there. And then there's 2 bolts that you'll see right here to remove the shift cable brackets, and then the grommet against the body there. And then the cables can be taken out from underneath the car. Now that we've got the factory shift cables out of the car, mine did already have some aftermarket heat sheeting on them just because I didn't have that heat shield. So let's go ahead and take that off real quick. There we go. And you'll see that I have these awful eBay shifter bushings. This one's too loose, and this one almost didn't want to go in because it's too tight. So if you're going to get some, buy good ones. Get them from HR. So from this, we have to transfer over the bracket that holds them to the car, and also the grommet that seals it up. Now these are a little bit thicker, so we'll have to trim. And I've also cut this one already because that's how I got my wiring for my underglow. Yes, I have an underglow, a little bit of a ricer. I'm okay with that. But I've got a slit on this side. I'm gonna do another one on this side so I don't have a thin strip in the middle. You could also do them sideways, whatever you'd like. But I'm gonna get that off. I'm gonna measure the end to bracket distance and copy that here so that they're in relatively the same place. And then I'm gonna keep this bolt here loose so that I can make adjustments and make sure everything's okay before final installation and tightening and making sure everything is set. So let's go ahead and do that. Once you've got your measurements, transfer them over to the new cables. What I did is measure from where they clip into the shifter to where they mount on the body. I figured that would be the most consistent number, and then went ahead and used a little Sharpie to make a mark. So then now we're gonna align the bracket to the cables. Make sure you do have them in the correct orientation. The shifter, when you're sitting in the car, is the right cable is gonna have the spring clip end, and the left cable is gonna have the smaller solid end. Brackets loosely on, no bolt on there yet. Got the 2 markings aligned with the end of the metal bracket. So now I'm going to go ahead and tighten this on by hand so that the cables can still move just with the tiniest bit of force, but they still sort of hold their shape. Next up, the grommet will go on. I did trim the end so that the thicker cables can go through, albeit kind of poorly, so do a better job than I did. But let's go ahead and slap that on. And now we can go ahead and put them back in the car. So we're going to fish them through, get them in on the inside cabin side first, and then snake through the longer side above the transmission and get the bracket on and see where they lay and see if we need to make any kind of adjustment in this before we start buttoning things up. Went ahead and got the cables in. It was easiest for me since I have such a large exhaust piece here. This probably wouldn't be an issue with the factory like exhaust, but it was easier for me to remove the grommet, pass them through all the way towards the front on top of the transmission, kind of where the battery goes, and then pop them in and move them back towards the interior of the car. You'll see that it is very tight for my setup here. So again, probably not an issue for other people. You can see the cables right in there. So now I'm going to go ahead and get inside the car, get the shifter back in, and tighten all that up since I know that those are fixed points. When you are bringing them into the cabin, make sure that you are going above all of the wire harnesses that are here in the center console. That's probably one of the most challenging things about getting them to come through, but they have a bunch of play, so let's go ahead and get this shifter in. Now the ends of my cables came loose. I think that's how they're meant to be, so you can clock them. I know for a fact that the hybrid racing shifter sits sideways for this particular cable. It's the right one with the ball end, and the factory one sits straight up and down. So I'm going to go ahead and clock it to where I know it needs to be because it's difficult to get to once the shifter is installed. Tighten up the jam nut, and then we'll put these on the shifter, and I can tighten this one afterwards since this one's easy to get to from the outside. All right, we got the shifter installed. It's nice and solid. Went ahead and put the retaining clip on the right cable, and I got the left cable installed onto the shifter. So I'm going to go ahead, tighten the jam nut. I'm going to use a cotter pin because the retaining clip went flying. So don't be a dummy, be careful with it. And then I can put the retaining clip there, and then we can continue under the hood. We have got 2 retaining clips right here and right there. Those were supplied in the kit. We also have cotter pin here, but since the shifter doesn't have anything in the transmission, we're not shifting anything just yet. So let's go ahead and get under the hood and continue with the install. Under the hood, you'll see that we've got these kind of aligned where they need to go, right there and right there, but they're not actually all the way in the holes, and they don't have the retaining clips yet. So what I'm going to do first is get them mounted to the shifter assembly or the shift select mechanism on the transmission, and then I will get them seated all the way in on the bracket and get the retaining clips installed. Before I do that though, I'm going to go ahead and use these heat shields that are included in the kit. They also come with really nice stainless ties for them, and then this guy has to go onto the top shifter mechanism there, which is what will adapt that to the spherical end on the shift cable. And then it's got a little retaining clip that is also included, and then the cotter pin holds the whole assembly together. After wrestling with stuff for just a little bit, went ahead and got this cable right here on the side connected. I did use a traditional style cotter pin on this instead of the included clip. Not that I've had any issues with these ever, it's just that I track the car, I'm very hard on it, and I don't want to take any chances, and that's more of a fail-safe, and I feel more secure about it. Nothing wrong with what comes with the kit, I'm just choosing to do that for myself. Went ahead and got the little adapter in there. You might be able to see the little retaining black clip, which holds it in place right there. It's a very tight fit, but it does fit. And then the shouldered side, right there, actually says to face that towards the bottom. So it goes on there like that. And then that one can get the included hardware. So now we get the lines up on here, on the bracket, and put the retaining clips in, button stuff up underneath, and test it out. All right, we've got retaining clip 1 back there, and 2 down here. We've got cable 1 attached to the shift select mechanism with the included hardware, and we've got the other one down here on the side. So now we can go ahead, get inside the car, and test it out before we button it all up. So make sure it goes into gear. Ooh, feels crisper. It does. Reverse is very easy to get into now, so that's cool. Gonna go ahead underneath and button it up. Now that we're back underneath the car, we got to get this grommet all lined up. It does have a lip. Let's see if I can get a good shot there. This lip right here needs to sandwich the sheet metal, so make sure you do that or it'll pop out. And then we've got the bracket here, the 2 bolts right there, and this little guy that have to reattach. So I'm gonna go ahead and mess with that, and then we can get all the stuff underneath the hood back on. So we've got battery tray, we've got intake, we've got battery, and then we can do the fun part, which is take it for test drive. And just like that, we've got bracket and we've got grommet in place. My cuts didn't come out super clean just because I already had previous cuts for the wiring for my underglow. So I might try to find a replacement one of these. They're not sold separately, I don't think. But junkyards usually will cut shifter cables when they get a swap in, and that will be left on the body. So I might hunt for one of those to try to do this a little bit cleanly, or at least a little bit more cleanly. Because yeah, I'm not super happy with that. So when you're doing this, make nice clean cuts with a fresh blade. Think yourself later after that. And then for the bracket over this way, I was very close to the exhaust, so I just bent it up a little bit to get it out of the way. You probably won't have to do that unless you have one of these large long tube headers from Unequal Fabrication. But that means next step will be to button everything up in the engine bay and the interior. So gonna get to it. All right, we got the interior all put back together. If you're wondering about the blue tape up on the dash, that's because I've been working on some cool stuff, which I'll show you here in a second. Since the car is getting turboed, I've been working on a gauge pod so I can clearly see, you know, everything I need to see while I'm on track and making cool whooshy noises. Still have good visibility. But yeah, this will be covered in a different video. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that off, and we can go for a test drive. I am having to get reused to this car because the clutch is very aggressive, and I haven't driven it in months because of my silver car. But we'll do a couple rips here, see how it goes. Definitely feels better. The shifter, it's hard to explain, but it feels smoother. I think that spherical end on the one cable compared to the solid, crappy eBay shift bushing that I had is a game changer. It feels more direct, which is awesome. I really didn't think that the shifter could get much better than the combo that I had, but again, Hybrid Racing doing their thing and proving me wrong. Let's see if I can get away from slow Nissan drivers. Do a couple 1-2s or what we can get over here. It is Saturday. There is a bunch of traffic. It's the middle of the day, and it's weirdly nice out for this time of year in the Chicago area. And if you hear a little bit of plasticky kind of weird sounding, that's because I haven't finalized the shift surround that I'm making for these yet. It's just a little bit too tight and rubbing a little bit on the linkage, but I'll get that fixed in the next iteration. So, man, the clutch is so sensitive on this. I forgot how sensitive the clutch is on this car. I do have one to downgrade a little bit, and then this one's going to Jay's car, which is also getting turboed, so that'll be cool. I also forgot how awesome this thing sounds compared to my stock car that, well, sounds stock. So awesome shift feel, love it. We are coming up on a local, fun, little twisty back road where I like to do some of my shenanigans and testing. really does feel better. Before it was notchy, not in a good sense. It would be clunky, I guess would be the way to put it. And I really think it had to do with the shift cables, and specifically the bushings that I had on it were just not good. These sphericals are absolute game changer. Feels much smoother. The shifter feels more direct. I sometimes would be, you know, kind of digging a little bit to try to find a gear, and now it feels like it falls into the gear more easily. I think it goes hand in hand with that, you know, prior clunkier feeling where now it's direct, and it feels great. I love it. It's definitely a difference from what was in here before, so yeah, good upgrade. Man, I miss this car. Can't wait for turbo stuff. Yeah, reaching into fifth is easier. Again, before it, like, I had to fight it just a little bit or dig for gears. That's gone. So, great upgrade. Let's get back to the shop and close this one out. Took a little longer than usual to get back because of a nasty accident we passed by, but we made it back safely. I swear the second it gets, you know, somewhat decent out, people just stop paying attention, or they're on their phone or whatever. I see cars getting totaled at that intersection all the time, so stay safe out there, people. It's like one of my biggest fears is something's going to happen either to this car or my EK or something. So that's actually why that car really doesn't see the street all that much. But the shifter feel is definitely improved thanks to the Hybrid Racing shifter cables. I will be doing a long-term review video of this in the future as well. We'll definitely be putting these things through the ringer once the turbo setup is on there. There's going to be a lot of heat right by where the shifter cables are. So it'll be a good test of the product. I'll also continue to track the car, you know, in the coming years. And yeah, we'll definitely be putting them through their paces. So hop on their website, buy some cool stuff for your car, go do some cool stuff to your car, and then go to the track and enjoy the crap out of it. Stay safe on the street, and I'll see you on the next one.